My name is Floss. I was born in Netley Abbey in Southampton, lived in Winchester for my younger years, teenage life and adult life, and then a few years ago we moved up to Stone. It was quite a large move. We had always had family down in Winchester, and so having to move from that and my job and people that I knew up to a completely new area, it was a massive change. But it's been really good. So I like it here in Stone. It's very nice. So I was diagnosed with autism in 2021. I have cerebral palsy as well. I was diagnosed with that too. I always thought my autism was part of my cerebral palsy, like it was kind of connected. So I always thought I was a bit different. I was struggling with things that other people could do, and just things like mathematics I really struggled with, tension wise as well, and also my lovely random mood swings. So that was not really very fun. So about 2017, 2018, I decided to get a diagnosis just for my peace of mind. I never use autism as a label or as an excuse. It's always a reason why I'm not able to do a lot of things, why I have a lot of noise sensitivity, why I'm not able to deal with a lot of crowds. It's strange because I can deal with a lot of things if I'm on my own. So I can travel on my own, I can go to different like concerts on my own, but with other people, like say if it's like a large family event, I can get very overwhelmed very quickly. So I have moved around quite a lot in my life, a few places in Winchester, and then I studied in Brighton for 2 years, so I moved there temporarily. It was a again a quite a difficult time. I was going through a lot of different things like with film school, and because I've always had troubles with socialising, whether it was in school, of whether it was in college and then film school. I just really struggled with social aspects. Like I would feel quite isolated even though I wasn't. It was my mind was very strange, and it's very difficult to be in social situations. So in my third year, I didn't pass my second year. Sadly, I got to it, but they didn't re-enroll me onto the third year. So I went back to Brighton just so then I could start finding some employment, because I found out I wanted to live there, I was enjoying it, and then I had to move out again because I wasn't getting any employment there anyway. So I decided to move back to Winchester. I was there for a few months, so I got a job, and then I moved to Basingstoke, which is around 20 minutes from Winchester. And I lived in a room with a lot of different people, not in the same room, but in the same house. There was at least four other people at least. But it was nice. We all kept to ourselves, but we would chat a lot. Even though it was a lot of different moves, it was always in the same area, so I would still know people. But when we moved up to Stone, we only visited once or twice a year just to visit my stepdad's family. And then we decided to move up lock, stock and barrel when both my grandparents had passed away, because I lived with my gramps for, I think it was about a year, 2 years before he passed from dementia. So we then moved up here, and got a place. I lived with my parents for about a year, then I moved it into a flat, and then I've now moved into my own place. So my first job was working in Marks and Spencer's for 2 days a week. It was the weekend, and it was a 6 months contract. It has been my most consistent job. It was great. You know, I didn't really at the time need very much in terms of support, because I knew what I was doing. It's this out, that out, this out, speaking with customers, talking to customers, making really bad jokes with customers. And I also got a little spotlight award. I've still got it actually, and it was about how nice I was, because I always do try and be nice and kind, and then that led me on to doing a bit more work in retail, so I won't mention the other companies because unfortunately my experiences with both of them weren't very good at all. I moved to a media store, and it wasn't the best experience. Like, I really enjoyed, chatting to customers, finding things, helping them the best I could. One of the managers in the store that I moved to, they weren't very kind. We have these radios that we would then communicate with the stockroom and other staff members if we needed help or needed a product. And I'd always, at that time, just believed I was anxious. I had anxiety. I was diagnosed with anxiety, and that I now know was a part of my autism. But it was difficult at times when I could get overwhelmed very quickly, and get very anxious about very small things. So when I was going on my break, I gave my colleague my radio, and I just put it right by them and just said, "Can you just look after that while I go for my break?" So I came back and it was gone. And the manager was like, "Where's the walkie-talkie?" And I gave it to my colleague, and he said, no, you didn't. So then I just was like, well, I definitely put it down by the record players. So, and he said, if someone's taking it, there was it didn't even let me finish, it just cut in. If someone's taking it, that's going to be £1,000 out of your wages. I didn't even make that over the period I was there. So I started having a very big meltdown. I tried to be as calm as possible because I knew I was on the floor, but it was a very scary moment because I was thinking, oh my goodness, where's that gone? Oh my goodness, I'm going to have all my money taken off me. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be arrested. I just had all these things going on in my head. And then he pulled out the walkie-talkie from his pocket and he was like, don't put it down again. So that was fun. I was sent home by the store manager because he was like, that wasn't right. And this person just got a formal warning. No apology, nothing, just a formal warning. I got an ankle injury because of my cerebral palsy. My legs aren't the strongest, so I had a bit of ligament issue. So I was off for a week, and I came back and I found my name had been highlighted with sales targets not met. And I said, how could I possibly have sold anything while I was at home on doctor's orders, in bed, or resting my leg? So then luckily, well, for me anyway, luckily the company went into administration. So I think it was anything under 2 years were let go. So that made it easy for me because I was going to resign anyway. So then I went back to the company that I was working for before then, the clothing company, and because of what happened at the previous job, I was very skittish and I was quite withdrawn. And then I decided to move back to Winchester, transferred, but I didn't really feel like I fitted in. I also had quite a lot of days that I was off sick because of certain things like norovirus or even just mental health days because I was just in such a pickle with my mental health at that time. So they were like, oh, I have a meeting, and over this past year you had, I think it was 7 days off. So I then had to leave that job because they were concerned that I wasn't doing things right, and then COVID hit, so I got let go again. Now, I really enjoyed doing mealtime volunteering at the hospital, at Royal County Hampshire Hospital, and so I was really enjoying it there. I was helping people who couldn't really help themselves, whether they had learning disabilities, autism, because I felt like dementia because I had experience, but it was I know what it is like not to be heard or listened to just because I had so many problems through school and college. It was nice because I could, we could communicate and just having a little bit of compassion, getting them to eat a little bit and just even like holding their hand or just like a kind word. So I really enjoyed doing that. So I signed up onto the apprenticeship. So I became a healthcare assistant apprentice. I was working with different sorts of people in different wards, and again with like the learning disabilities and in doing things with them. It was just so much fun. It was just so lovely, and then the apprenticeship collapsed. We don't know what happened, but suddenly loads of people didn't want to do it anymore, and that was it. So that kind of fell to pieces. So then I went on to agency, which was manageable because it was, again, learning disabilities, autism. So I was an agency for independent living. So I was helping people out and about in the community, at home with like their cooking, but it was fine. And then my grandfather passed away, and that was kind of a shock for me because it was very sudden. So I took a couple of weeks off bereavement leave, and I came back and I got no more work. I just got no more work. So I moved on to then another agency job, which was for more complex learning difficulties. And then we moved up to Stone, and then I got a job there for 2 years. It was mostly working with Downs and complex mental health. And then I'm currently at another care home. I've been there for about 3 months, and about 3 weeks ago I was told I wasn't fit for the role, so they're keeping me on as a housekeeper, but I'm looking for different avenues because it was overwhelming at times, but I was really enjoying the care, doing the care side, making people happy, helping them, but it just wasn't doing well. I wasn't doing well apparently, even though all my supervisions were fine. Because one thing I like feedback, constructive feedback, and that's why I worry so much that I'm not performing or I can perform better. But I know that I do my best at anything I do. So I have had a few career changes, and it has been really difficult to adjust, and now having to adjust to being a housekeeper, which I didn't want to do, but it was like that or nothing, because I still get to communicate with the residents, but they didn't know at the time that I had disabilities, and I did state that in like reports that they do beforehand, but I don't think that it's really right. And it's like I said, oh, you're very jumpy, and it's like because I'm autistic, and because I have another part of it called auditory processing disorder. I was diagnosed with that before my autism because I wasn't able to register noises behind me. So I would, like, someone would come in and I would jump out of my skin. But it is so difficult keeping down a job, because at the time when I wasn't diagnosed with autism, I had no idea why I wasn't able to perform like my colleagues, why I was a bit more different. It has been quite difficult finding a career at the moment that's suiting me, because it is really difficult. So I'm hoping that I can find something else I'm more suited to, because at the moment it's been quite difficult trying to find something that works around me but can work around other people. I have had quite a few different hyperfocuses over the years. I've got some tattoos of them. I'm really into things like Pokemon, Animal Crossing. I love my gaming because they make me feel quite relaxed, and it also makes me feel quite competitive. And I just love gaming in general, just because it just helps me wind down and sometimes takes some anger that I may be feeling out on other things. But I also love like different films. I'm really into like Disney because I feel very comforted. It's a story, I know what's going to happen, and I really love a lot of different type of music, mostly the 80s. My favourite band at the moment is Clanad, they're an Irish band, so they've been in my life ever since I was 7. I used to have a special song called Theme from Harry's Game. It helps me really calm. It just helps calm me down when I was feeling very overwhelmed. So, but I've been getting a lot more into their music. I met them last year. They were lovely, lovely people. My cat's named after 2 of the members who passed away. And I've been to their hometown Donegal. I'm going again later next month. But as well, like, I'm really passionate about like animals and I've got a beautiful little cat, beautiful little boy. So funny. I love caring for people. I love caring for anything and everybody. And if I could just wave a magic wand and just have everyone being happy, even if it's just for 5 minutes, I would do, because it's just so nice just cheering people up.